You ever have a dream car to detail? Well, this is mine. My uncle just purchased a black Camaro, and today we're going to get it ceramic coated for him. We've got a lot of work to do. If you enjoy detailing tips, transformations, and reviews, make sure you guys subscribe and follow. And apparently, these cars were not made for tall people. Good Lord. So we only have this vehicle for a day. My family came in from out of town and they're leaving later on tonight. And so we need to, in just a few short hours, have this washed, do a decontamination, possibly a two-step polish, and ceramic coat it. Now, this coating, they actually just updated the cure time for it to 6 hours. So that's perfect for today because I'm probably going to be down to the wire with getting this coating on and giving it time to set up before my aunt and uncle leave. So idealistically, if we can get everything done in 6 hours, we'll be good to go. We're going to start off by doing a foaming pre-soak with Built Hamber Auto Foam. This is an extremely popular soap from the UK, has a pH of around 13 and is extremely efficient at removing dirt and any sort of loose soil on the vehicle, so that way when you do your contact wash, it's a lot safer. So after we do our door jambs, we're going to go ahead, foam everything down, even our tires and wheels. That's just going to help remove even some of the brake dust on our matte wheels. And we're going to be able to come in and do a very quick and thorough contact and decontamination. Is that too much foam? There's never too much foam. While AutoFoam is doing its thing, we're going to come over with Oberk Tire and Wheel Cleaner. This is going to do a chemical decon for us on our wheels, as well as remove some of the pretty severe browning on these tires. I applied foam to half the vehicle at a time, did the tires and wheels, rinsed that off, and then did the other side. So that way I had less risk of water spotting because the sun is starting to come up. After we rinsed it off, we did a quick refoam, and we're going to go ahead and do our contact wash. And then immediately after, we're going to use our fine grade clay towel, do a chemical decon and a clay towel treatment simultaneously. You might be thinking you're going to scratch the paint. Well, I'm not too worried about it because you're going to see in just a second just how bad this paint was, and the damage was not done by me. It was done by the automatic car wash. But what light marring I might induce with the clay towel treatment, if I didn't do a rinse, is not going to harm it because we're going to be dialing it in when we do our polish step anyways. Sometimes you don't want to overthink the moment. But let's get this pulled inside, dry everything off, and get started on our polishing step. This took about an hour from start to finish. Because there's so many nooks and crannies on this vehicle, and because I need to immediately polish and coat, we're going to blow everything off with the Eagle blower. But in the process of blowing everything off, I discovered that actually the louvers on the back were just kind of flopping around in the wind, and I discovered the adhesive that they were stuck to the glass had kind of worn off. So I called my uncle and he gave me the go ahead and remove that. There was a little bit of adhesive that we had to remove, so we used Koshemi Ulex to do that. And after we removed that, we also discovered there were some pretty severe water spots on the glass because it hadn't been cleaned in quite some time. So we used my favorite glass polish, Pinnacle Glasswork, and that removed all of the adhesive and water spots on the back window. Honestly, I don't know how anyone can see out their back window with those things, and I think it looks 1,000 times better without it, but my uncle might put it back on in the future, which he has every right to do. But after drying, we assess the paint to see what we can do paint correction wise. We did have one panel that was a little low, but the rest of this vehicle, we were well within a safe range to do a two-step correction. Anything that's above 4 mils, you're good to go to do a little bit more of an aggressive polish, but that doesn't mean you need to do that every time. But once you start getting to your low 3s, you know you're running dangerously thin on clear coat. But man alive, do we need to do a really good correction on this vehicle. Now, time is also an issue, but the automatic car wash has definitely done some major damage with holograms all over this soft paint. It shouldn't be difficult for us to remove the holograms. I'm more so concerned about the major swirls that are on this paint. So I have an idea of what we're going to be able to do, but a lot of times it's just going to be your test spot that dictates everything. But let this be your PSA. Don't go to the automatic car wash, because this is what it will do to your vehicle over time.
So we've done our paint thickness gauge readings. We've got more than enough paint on the vehicle. There's just one panel that we're like 3.8, but that's still enough for us to be able to do a good 1-step, maybe even 2-step. So this is for my uncle, and honestly, my labor is gonna be free on this, and pretty much materials. This is gonna be a gift of love. We've gotten everything completely decontaminated. The paint is nice and smooth, but we've got some major holograms, some major swirls on this paint. Chevy paint typically is soft, so it should correct easily, but chances are whatever measure we use to do correction is going to leave behind a haze. So more than likely this is going to be a 2-step. So we're going to try to make this as quick of a 2-step as possible, because I only have this vehicle for a day, so we need to polish and get it coated today. So we've got a good bit of work ahead of us, but I think it's going to turn out fantastic. The only issue that I might have is just because we have so many sharp angles and smaller paint pieces, that we'll have to probably use our 3-inch polisher on a lot of the smaller areas. We'll get a good wheel protectant on for our matte wheels, as well as ceramic coat the matte pieces here. The adhesive for the back louvers, whatever we'll call that, had pretty much come off, so we ended up just removing it. There was some water spots and adhesive. We removed all that, so I think it kind of looks better, Uncle Bobby, but that's just me. What do you guys think? But it's their car. They can do whatever they want, but it's going to turn out fantastic. We do have some carbon fiber pieces at the very bottom, so we'll just do a quick zip on those. You can polish them, but you don't want to really be super aggressive. But thankfully we have the air conditioning on. It is starting to cool off in here. I had to change shirts. I was just absolutely covered in sweat. So now let's go ahead and get polishing. So here's our before. The Last Cut Plus is doing a fantastic job of very quickly removing the heavy swirls and just bringing back some color to this paint, this faded appearance, and a lot better clarity. I was trying the last polish, and here's where we landed with that. Just kind of 2 quick passes of both. And you can see, if you kind of look very closely at the light, there's still a little bit of marring going on. Even though I'm using a foam pad, this paint is softer. So I actually tried my tried and tested Optimum Hyper Polish. We stepped it up to an orange foam pad just to try to remove a little bit more of that marring from our blue foam pad, because again, sometimes when you use a more aggressive pad, a white foam pad is not going to give you enough abrasive to finish down properly. So when we bump that up just to a light polishing pad, which is our orange foam, you can see we have no marring, really nice clarity. Now, we're not removing every single defect from this paint, and that's okay, because the reality is it's black soft paint. It's gonna get scratched again, but we've been able to remove a lot of the heavy defects that were on this paint and just finish down really nice. For those that might be new to paint correction, let me just kind of explain to you why I am taking this approach and why there might be some scratches left behind on the paint. For me to realistically get 100% of the defects on this paint, I would need to use something like a microfiber or a wool pad. But on this soft, finicky paint, that would leave major marring. That would potentially require 2 to 3 passes just to remove the marring. Each aggressive level of correction that you take, plus every additional pass that you have to take to remove said marring, is removing clear coat. And that clear coat cannot be put back on. And so sometimes when you are working on soft, finicky paint like this, you might be limited with the amount of correction that you can do if you are wanting to finish down properly without a haze or marring. And so that's why we used the most aggressive blue foam pad, finished down with our orange foam pad, and we have nice clarity. That's the most important thing. You can have correction, but if you don't finish down properly without marring, it's kind of pointless. What I really like, though, is that we've just got so much more depth to our color. Just from here, you can see just an obvious difference. So that's what a good polish can do, just kind of put some of those oils back into the paint, almost like you're moisturizing it, and just give it a nice, healthy appearance. And we're gonna be able to finish down beautifully, very quickly. It's basically like a 1.5 step. So we'll do 2 passes with our blue foam pad, our last cut compounding glaze, and then 2 passes with our optimum hyper polish with our orange foam pad. That's our combo for today that we're gonna stick with. I think it's going to turn out fantastic. That will easily get rid of all of these holograms and major swirls. And what might be left behind are some of the deeper defects, but again, black soft paint, I am not going to really obsess over all of that. The reality is that the average person, when they look at this paint once I'm done, they're probably going to think that the paint is perfect. The only people that might see some of the defects, honestly, is someone like me who's gonna have that annoying light pulling it out and kind of inspecting the light. But on an average day-to-day basis out in the sun, this paint is just gonna be popping.
So once we are done polishing all of our paint and before we apply our ceramic coating to the paint, we need to address these black matte wheels. Now, matte wheels cannot be polished. They'll kind of ruin the matte nature of them, but because they're so badly scratched and stained from the harsh chemicals from the automatic car wash, I want to try to at least put some protection down that will make it easier to clean moving forward. That way they don't have to be as aggressive to remove brake dust and add more scratches to this already dull matte wheel. But you could see the Vonixx Synergy Wheel Protectant is actually enriching the black color of these matte wheels. I like products like this for matte wheels because you're going to actually transform the appearance with very little effort. This is actually applying up to 6 months of protection, as simple as wiping it on and just a quick light buff. And you can drastically change the appearance of your black matte wheels with a product like this, as well as adding that protective layer that will require less effort to remove brake dust moving forward. It's super easy, and for those of you that have matte wheels, I definitely recommend putting durable protection on it to make maintenance easier and make the wheels look better without having to polish. And if you don't believe me, just wait till the very end of this video when you see my uncle's reaction. I think he was more freaked out over what I did to the wheels than what I did to the paint, thanks to this product right here. So we are finally all done with our 1.5 step correction on this paint. We got anywhere from 85 to 90% of the defects on this paint. It's not 100%, but it is a huge improvement. There were some deeper scratches, but a lot of the major defects and the holograms we were able to remove. We did a panel prep wipe to remove all of our polishing oils, even though we did a rinseless wash, and now we are applying our McKees 37 graphene ceramic coating. I've done tons of videos on this product. I've seen great feedback from my customers' vehicles that have brought their vehicles in for maintenance, and I've been very impressed with just how durable this product is. But more than anything, I just love how easy it is to apply. We have our softbox light just to help see any sort of high spots, so that way I can effortlessly apply this coating and give us almost a mirror-like reflection once we are done. Nick Redder from McKees 37 actually reached out to me a couple of weeks back to inform me that they had done some rigorous testing with their product, and after having been on the market for quite some time and hearing feedback from other installers, that they had updated the cure time with this product to 6 hours versus the previous 24 hours. They didn't really update the formula. I asked him that, and he said no. What they did do is just more rigorous testing to make sure that that information was accurate. So I wanted to pass that information on to you guys. The formula hasn't changed, but the cure time after rigorous testing has been updated. And so for those of you that have been enjoying this product, you can now safely release that vehicle out into the world after 6 hours with an updated cure time. And man, oh man, look at the reflection on this vehicle when we back it out. This is why I love this coating. Personally, this is one of the most satisfying ceramic coating jobs that I've done in a while. I like working on daily drivers, but there is nothing quite like working on a beautiful black muscle car. I was so happy to be able to do this for my aunt and uncle. I cannot wait to see their reaction because, Lord Almighty, I think my husband was very willing to trade cars after this, but everyone that saw this vehicle was just blown away by how gorgeous it looked when we were done. It's like looking in a mirror. Our matte wheels look completely transformed. Even the matte trim pieces look great with the McKees graphene coating on it, but more than anything, this black paint, well, I think my daughter said it best. It just looks breathtaking. And for those that want to see my family's reaction, well, here you go.
Oh my god. We ready to go?
Come on.
Oh my lord! Oh man!
Oh, it was nice without that lube.
It really looks nice without the louver. Wow. And you can really see nicely out the back without the
That thing
louver.
looks like brand new.
Yeah?
I don't want to drive it.
You knew it. You knew he was going to say that.
You can take the Subaru home.
You can
Just saying, we can throw that out there.
Oh, Chelsea, that is gorgeous.
I didn't get every single scratch out, but I got the majority out. So.
Man.
It looks like inside yet.
What'd you do to the wheels?
Wouldn't you know it, the one part of the detail that was the easiest for me to do, and that's the one thing he loves the most. But our Camaro transformation is complete. This was, to date, one of my favorite details to work on. My uncle and aunt have been loving how easy maintenance has become for them, and I hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you in the next detail.